Must be read.
Call to order, regular meeting of Goodyear City Council, October 22nd, 2007. Would you please join Councilmember Cavalier in the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation?
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may join me in prayer if you wish. Heavenly Father, guide this city council in the decisions that reflect the vision and mission of our great city. Watch over our police and firemen and women who face the daily dangers and the challenges that may be harmful to them. Bring our men and women home in the armed forces home safely and help them to bring an end to conflicts abroad. All this we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. All members of council are here this evening. Could I have a motion, please, to approve the accounts payable for September 2007?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Motion is from Councilmember Lord, second with Councilmember Holland. Open for discussion. Accounts payable, September 2007. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I did question a substantial amount of money that was paid to Arizona State Hospital in an amount of $17,000 plus, and inquired of finance and was advised that if the payment was correct and was paid to the hospital for services rendered for one of the individuals that was picked up by our police department. So I was satisfied with the explanation. That's the only concern I had about the bill.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Osborne?
Yes, just a follow-up question. It doesn't need to be answered now, but in a quick overview, I noticed that we had closely $334,000 spent this past month on design services, and I'd like to know a little bit more about what that means and some of these contractors.
Mayor, Councilmember Osborne, what we can do is give you the details that build up to that amount. We do have design going on for the ballpark, and that's probably a big amount, but we'll get you exactly what the breakdown is.
There's quite a few different companies, so.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Further? Okay, could I have a motion to, no, I have the motion. All those in favor of the motion to approve the accounts payable signify by stating aye, please. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, 7-0. We have no communications. Opportunity now for anyone in the public who wishes to address the council on a non-agenda item. Please do so at this time. Again, non-agenda item.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes. Okay. Richard?
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I would like to just say big thanks and appreciation for the GAIN program that happened on Saturday to the mayor, the council members, the police department, the fire department, and our surrounding communities. I think it was one heck of an event, and it came out very nicely. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate a positive comment there. Thank you.
No stink.
It
wasn't stinky.
More lot of words. We're off to a good start here. Okay, we'll now move to consent and ask the city clerk to read consent items A through F by title only, please.
Item A, council will consider approving draft minutes of a work session held on October 9th, 2007, and draft minutes of a regular council meeting held on October 9th, 2007, and draft minutes of a work session on October 15th, 2007. B, council will consider approving a request from Jela Aslani, representing XA Enterprises Incorporated, for a Series 12 liquor license for Brothers Pizza Express located at 433 North Estrella Parkway, which is the northeast corner of Van Buren and Estrella Parkway. C, council will consider awarding a construction contract in the amount of $171,689.92 to KJ Plumbing for the installation of a storm drain system from Bullard Avenue to an existing flood control district of Maricopa County retention basin. D, council will consider approving a use permit to allow limited outdoor display of outdoor accessory items in conjunction with the primary retail use of Shasta Pools and Spa Design Sales Center on a 2.57-acre parcel in the Cobblestone Creek Commercial Center located west of the northwest corner of McDowell Road and Pebble Creek Parkway in the Palm Valley Planned Area Development, subject to stipulations. Item E, council will consider appointing Gary Brooks to the Goodyear Public Improvement Corporation Board for a 3-year term expiring May 31st, 2010. 2, council will consider appointing Sherilyn Holman to the Goodyear Public Improvement Corporation Board for a 3-year term expiring August 31st, 2010. Item F, council will consider adopting Resolution 07-1189, authorizing the interim city manager to execute the Arizona State Retirement System Supplemental Retirement Savings Plan, Appendix C, adoption agreement of participating employers to provide a 401A retirement plan for city employees. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone in the public wish to remove an item from the consent agenda? Would anyone on council wish to remove an item from the consent agenda? Okay, could I have a motion to approve the consent?
So moved.
Second. Motion from Vice Mayor, second from Councilmember Cavalier. Roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Antonia,
Aye.
Councilmember Sousa,
Aye.
Councilmember Cavalier,
Aye.
Councilmember Osborne,
Aye.
Councilmember Holland, Councilmember Lord, Mayor Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Passed 7-0.
Okay, thank you. We'll now move to the business part of our agenda. We have 2 important items. We'll start with the Astoria Falls Regional Shopping Center and request or consider the approval of the site plan. Steve Correcchio.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. This is the site plan for the Estrella Falls Regional Shopping Center. It consists of 106 acres located within the Goodyear Planned Regional Center, PAD. The site is bounded by Encanto, Bullard, and McDowell here to the south. To the north, we'll have existing residential development. To the east, we have an apartment complex. We have Lifetime Fitness here. And to the south and west, we'll have proposed commercial development. This is the site plan for the regional shopping center with north right here. It's configured in an open air format. We have the main street running north-south through the site, and then we have the main pedestrian plaza here running east-west. Site plan shows a little over 973,000 square feet of buildable area. Surrounding the buildings, we have the parking fields, and then we have the main loop road around the regional center. Then surrounding that, we'll have all of the out parcels for future development. Staff has reviewed the site plan. We find it is consistent with the city's development standards and design guidelines and is consistent with the PAD. As such, Planning Commission and staff are recommending approval subject to the 5 stipulations in the staff report. That, Mr. Mayor, that concludes my report. Staff is available for questions, as is the applicant, who also has a short presentation for the council.
Okay, thank you. Opportunity for the applicant.
Well, Mayor and Council, good evening. Pleased to be back before you again tonight. I'd like to just briefly introduce our team, if I could. Here with me tonight from Westcor are David Scholl, our Senior Vice President of Development, myself, Garrett Newland, Vice President of Development. We also have Christine McWright in Development, Ron Lorch and Margie Aaron from our design team at Westcor. Also should point out that our architect, OmniPlan, is here. John Tran and Serenity Sharp are both here. Landscape architect on this project is Jillian Hagan with Greet Pickett. Our engineer, Carter Burgess, Bob Marmon, is here tonight with us. And should also point out our land partners on this, Globe Corporation, the George Getz and the Getz Group are close partners with us on this project, as well as the entire master plan here at Estrella Falls. Well, we're back. We were here in February, gave you a briefing on our design up to that point. We've worked extensively with your staff before that and since that time. Brian Dahlke and Jim and Kim in your city manager's office, Bob and Harvey and Steve in planning, all your engineering group, building officials. We've had extensive conversations with everyone, and we feel like we've all got a great game plan going forward to deliver this project 2 years from now. We're asking for approval tonight for our site plan and for a design guidelines booklet that will lay out how we design the colors, materials for the project going forward. I think you all have a copy of the booklet. We're asking for that approval here tonight. Go ahead and go into the PowerPoint presentation. Just quickly talk through the entire project. This is the Estrella Falls Master Plan. It encompasses about 330 acres of commercial and mixed-use development. The Power Center, which is located at the immediate northeast corner of Pebble Creek and McDowell, is under construction now. You can see a lot of activity out on the site. First phase of that project is scheduled to open next fall. The remainder of the project is encompassed by the Regional Center, located at the northwest corner of Bullard and McDowell, and that's about 107 acres, and I'll go into a little bit more detail on that in just a moment. There's an additional about 150 acres of development beyond the Power Center and beyond the Regional Mall that will be coming back for site plan approval and future commercial development. Again, 330 acres. We anticipate in excess of 3 million square feet of retail, office, commercial development occurring right here at this location, which obviously will become a very important commercial core for the city of Goodyear and for the entire Southwest Valley. Also should point out on this map, all of the offsite infrastructure to serve our projects here is being constructed through the improvement district that we partnered with the city on. And we're very pleased to work with the city on that, and very pleased to help create a great amenity for residents of Goodyear in the Bullard Wash Park that will be coming out as part of this improvement district and part of our project. Much as the park in Indian Bend Wash is in Scottsdale, I think this will be a major amenity for the citizens of Goodyear and for the Southwest Valley as well, and we're very pleased and very happy to be able to partner with the city on that. Go ahead and flip to the Regional Center site itself. Steve gave you a quick outline for the Regional Center site. It is an outdoor format. It is a lifestyle format. What you're seeing now is the convergence of the old regional shopping center, more traditional regional shopping center, with the new lifestyle format, outdoor format. You see 3 anchors on the project, 1 theater and 2 department stores. Steve mentioned 975,000 square feet of retail and office. That's what you see on the site plan right now. The green parcels around the outside are not going to be park amenities. There will be future commercial development. We're not asking for approval of that tonight. Those will be developed in accordance with the design guideline booklet here and really complement the mall whenever they do come out. You'll see restaurant pad development, banks, other retail. The total square footage inside this boundary at build-out will be anywhere from 1.2 to 1.4 million square feet of, again, retail, commercial, office development. The community amenities that we've partnered with the city on include a community room that we'll be building in right now it's planned for the food court building, which will allow any groups from the community to come and utilize the facility as a nice meeting place. We're creating a police substation for your police department to use. We'll have a couple of dedicated parking spaces for public safety vehicles very close to that, so they'll be able to access the site easily. We'll be building a transit stop along 150th Drive, newly created 150th Drive on the west end of the project. And we'll be also developing a community public information kiosk that the city will be able to utilize to put information about city billing, tax information, whatever the city wants to put in there, tourist information, perhaps some information about the new baseball stadium, hopefully, and other amenities will be available for the city. Additionally, we've agreed to make a contribution for police services, and we'll be doing that in the amount of $600,000 phased in over the first couple of years of development of the mall. Those are things that we agreed to when we partnered with the city through our development agreement through the improvement district. We believe that Estrella Falls will be the major commercial destination for the Southwest Valley, for the city of Goodyear. It'll be the state-of-the-art in format and in tenant mix. Just want to briefly outline our schedule as it's planned right now, and then I'm going to ask Ron Lorch from our design team to just do a very brief walkthrough of things that have changed since we were here before you a few months ago, and give you still a flavor of what the design and development of the project will look like. We're of course asking for site plan approval tonight. Our full civil plans are scheduled to be submitted in November. We've already applied for and actually received a mass grading permit from the city. You'll see us breaking ground hopefully by the end of the year, and our scheduled opening date right now is fall 2009, so we're about 2 years away. Many of you know that we have another project that we're opening this very week on the other side of the valley in Gilbert Santan Village, and we're hoping to see a few of you come over and take a look at the project over in Gilbert as well. There will be some similarities there. Estrella Falls will be its own next evolution of that design, but it'll be a similar feel and a similar tenant mix that you'll see at this project as well. All right, that's enough for me. With that, I'm going to ask Ron to step up here and give you a little bit of a flavor of our design, and then we'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thanks.
Thank you. Ron?
Thank you, Garrett. Mr. Mayor and City Council members, if I could have the Elmo, please. I'd like to talk about the minor changes on the site plan. Again, we reoriented the site plan so north is now to the right. Bullard is at the bottom of the site, just off the page right here. McDowell is to the left, right over here. You've got Encanto on the right, and 150th is at the top. What we did was we increased buildings 9 and 11 right through here. We moved this department store approximately 60 feet to the east. What that did was it created 3 plazas that were similar in size and character. It also created much better symmetry on this outer ring road where this bubbles out here, it comes around, and now comes out over here. We had one road that went north and another secondary road in here. We have decided to project this road up and through the site, creating much better north-south circulation and also activating this parking lot from McDowell. One of the other things we did was we added in this orange area about 50,000 square feet of second-level office. It does a number of things. It brings office component to the site, which we think is very exciting and an outstanding amenity for Goodyear. It also creates some shade throughout this project, right in here where you've got 2-story structure. So if I could go back to the PowerPoint, please. This is a Cienega. We looked to nature, and what we found was it was right in our backyard, the inspiration for the entire project. A Cienega is an oasis of lush landscaping that meanders across the desert floor, much as the way our main street cuts through the site. This is an example of street character. If you look in the upper right-hand corner, you'll notice where we are on the key map. We're actually looking at buildings 3 and 4. You see the second-story office off to the left. Again, what it creates is vertical interest throughout the buildings and also create some additional shade as people are fully covered with shade other than trellis or canopy. It's dense shade right underneath the building. You see the gentle curve of the street to the right, and also a nice mix of palm trees, shade trees, seasonal color in planting beds to enhance the pedestrian experience. This is our 3 plazas. If you look again on the key map, the plazas are running east-west. The theater on the big map is on the on the left side. You've got the department store all the way on the right side. So we've got our entertainment garden, which is down by the theater. The middle garden is where we plan more of a performance-oriented garden, and on the far right would be our marble garden. Again, plenty of shade throughout all 3 plazas with colonnades, trellises, palm shade trees, water features, and plenty of seating area throughout the middle of the plazas. This is a blow-up of our marble garden. Again, it is a little more kid-friendly. There's more open lawn for children's play area, acrylic-covered marble spheres that spin in the water to add interest for kids to play. We've also got plenty of cool shading and seating areas for relaxation. This is what we envision the performance garden to be, a gathering place, again with cool water, seating walls, raised planters, framed with large overstory trees to create the deep shade once again. This is where we are with our architectural character at the moment. Again, you're looking at buildings 3 and 4, showing the massing in the second-story office above. We want to maximize shade with all of our architectural elements. The office above creates full shade, as well as the use of arcades, trellises, and colonnades. The corners of each of our buildings will be anchored by tower elements, as you can see on the left portion of the slide. This shot on the upper left is the food court. Again, 2-story element with a large overhang, plenty of glass. The community room is also shown in this photo on the lower slide with the police substation. Again, you see the corner element with lots of glass. This is building 10 with the corner tower looking north and looking east. I would describe our architecture as quiet and contemporary. It's very clean, it's very modern, not a lot of clutter. Westcor, again, will build the building shell. What that is it's the building above 16 feet we'll take care of, and then the tenants will finish everything below 16 feet. The overall massing of each building and exterior finishes will be ours, again, above 16 feet. Tenant will be allowed to add their individual storefront. Each building will serve as a blank canvas, allowing the retail storefronts to express their individual brand throughout their own unique architectural design. And again, this is elements of storefronts that will be overlaid on top of our shell. And in closing, our goal has always been to create a sense of place, a destination for fine dining, entertainment, play, and of course state-of-the-art shopping for the city of Goodyear and the entire West Valley. And with that, we'll open it up to questions.
That's it, Mayor.
Okay.
Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Yeah, great, thank you. Before we get to that, any comments from the public? Anyone in the public like to comment? Okay, seeing none, could I have a motion then to approve the site plan for Estrella Falls Regional Shopping Center and subject to 5 stipulations?
Second.
Okay, I think I had the motion over here, I think, did I? Okay, Councilmember Lord, second was Vice Mayor Antoniak. Okay, it's open for discussion. Why don't we start over here with Councilmember Osborne?
Okay. Few questions I have. Starting off with the parking. The center area, the inner parking strips are going to be prime, I'm sure, for people. And I was curious as to if you're going to be having any kind of time restrictions to those areas, from people sitting there all day, and to it, employees, will you have within your leases that employee parking is not considered within this area?
Yes, Mayor, Councilmember Osborne. We don't plan to have any time restrictions on the parking. However, one of the key points you made was about employees. We definitely will encourage all of our retailers. There'll be dedicated employee parking, actually a little bit further away from the buildings on the fringe of the property, where the most days the parking fields aren't used as much. And our management team, our mall management team, will monitor that. And if it looks like it's becoming a problem and employees are taking up all that space, we'll definitely be talking to them and moving them out of there.
Well, I had, in a different situation, I had brought up employee parking that I considered possibly safety of employees, of if they had their own parking area, that security also monitored, because those vehicles do stay there all day long, and so, people coming in and out in later evenings. So I just wanted to throw that up there. The landscaping. I've been learning a lot these past couple months regarding landscaping and people's different opinions of whether it be landscaping that is sculptured and manicured, maintained type of landscaping like that, or landscaping that lets the plants mature and can actually show their colors. And I know that in my quest for color, I'm seeing lately that a lot of the thoughts of landscapers are they're sculpting these plants, and it's never allowing the color to form. And so I just wanted to hear your thoughts on your landscaping of this property.
I'll let Ron answer that one.
Councilman Osborne, most of the plants that will be running down the main Cienega will be fronting on tenants. Those will be limbed up so you can see the storefronts. But the rest of the plants will not be severely manicured throughout the project, specifically parking lot, retention basin, and so forth. So
manicured's pretty, but it's just not allowing the color that we keep asking for to come through.
Agreed. And a lot of the plant material that we're using out in the parking lots and around the retention basin is native material, so it will not require a lot of pruning.
All right. And my last question regarding that center area where you'll be having the valet section. You kind of hit upon it, I believe, in the street character. With the children amenities around there, it looks like you're trying to have some kind of natural barriers so people don't go running out within that area. I mean, I have discussed previously with circulation being my concern about this, and I'm hoping that from what I'm seeing here, you are putting those natural barriers. And are there stop signs within that section?
Yes, Mayor, Councilmember Osborne. To your last question first about stop signs, every place where streets cross, there'll be a stop sign. So the traffic speed and the interface with both other vehicles that are trying to back up or find a place to park, and with all the pedestrians that we expect to flow in and out of the project, there'll be a lot of stop signs at really every place that you have a street that's crossing another street. To the question, I'm sorry, I just went blank on the other question.
Street character regarding natural
barriers. I'm sorry. Yes, on the barriers, both in terms of natural barriers, landscape, trees, seed walls, and then as you get closer to the edges of those sidewalks, in places where vehicles are able to make a turn, for example, we'll have either bollards, or even more likely, we'll have large planters. We'll have a large pot planter that you would not be able to get through. And again, the safety factor for kids and for pedestrians crossing everywhere, particularly in a project like this, is very important to us. You've got to have a very safe place for people to be able to move around and shop.
And on the roads, there'll be a textural change when it's a pedestrian crossing. So there'll be the stop sign, you'll hear it as the car rumbles, it'll be a different texture. So we're going to slow down both cars and pedestrians.
Thank you. Councilmember Lohr? Good. Can you go?
Yeah, thank
Councilmember
you.
Souza?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, David, I guess we lost. Versus the inside outside, I'm referring to. That's the only objection I have about this project. I'm concerned that it's not an inside mall. And I've said that ever since the inception of this idea that came about. However, on the other hand, I've reviewed everything that we have here, and I'm impressed. I understand that the trees that we have that are going to be within the project itself, within the mall, are going to be mature trees. They're currently in the state of growing, as you said the other day, and that, to me, is good from a shade standpoint. And as we look at all the plans that you have, from a shade standpoint and from the MR standpoint, I think people are going to be pleased. They're going to be not really hurt by heat in the long run. I hope they aren't, anyway. You know, I'm concerned about a major segment of this community that is over 50 years of age. And they're going to be shopping. These are the folks that are going to be shopping in this mall. And, you know, if it's hot like it's been this past summer, these folks are going to stay away from that mall. And I think in the long run, it's going to hurt us.
There are some of us that will bear that heat and shock. I just wanted to tell you, a few of us will bear that.
Maybe they all have the fortitude that you have. And I am concerned about, number one, handicap parking, that there's a sufficient amount of handicap parking throughout the mall itself. And we discussed that the other day.
Yes. Yes, Mayor, Councilmember Sousa, the indoor-outdoor question, you know, Westcor for 30 years plus has had a great track record of building enclosed suburban and regional malls. The industry has changed, and I mean, we feel like we have to partner with our retailers and with our department store partners and build what can be successful now. All across this country, outdoor centers that is what the industry is calling for. And both, again, from department stores to small shops to restaurants, the retailers are doing very well in these formats, and consumers like them. They're picking these centers with their sales dollars. You know, we're seeing very high volumes of sales at our outdoor centers here, Kierland and Biltmore, much higher than the other centers in the market, and we expect the same thing to continue here. Your comment about handicap parking, very well taken. One of the great things about this format is this handicap parking that will be found throughout the project. It'll be much more accessible for someone to come in and park close to one building, two building, a group of shops. More easy to do that than it would be in an enclosed regional mall where you have to park out in that parking field and then work your way into that very large building before you can find your way to the shops. Your comment about landscape, we're putting more landscape in this project than we have in any other project that we've built. Very important, and the size of the landscape, particularly even at the beginning of the project in the pedestrian areas, very important. And to your point about the size of the landscape, and we're already picking out landscape materials now and allowing them to grow so that when we put them in the ground, they're bigger than a typical 24-inch box, 36-inch box, et cetera. So very important for us to create that environment of cool, and we're committed to doing that.
That's probably.
About the street cover. The street cover, is that still included? You talked about doing a cover, and I'm sorry, I don't have my phone. A cover along the street, is that still?
No, Mayor,
I didn't see
Councilmember,
that.
Lord,
That's why I'm
we
asking.
changed our concept there. In February, when we came forward with that, we were showing these shade structures out over the main street. Well, when we finally started doing our shade studies on what kind of shade that was going to create, well, it was definitely creating some shade on the street, but it wasn't creating enough shade on the sides of the streets and the pedestrian areas. So we've taken the shade structures out of the area over the street, but we're still keeping them in places, again, where you'll have pedestrians. Over the roundabout, over the pedestrian plazas, we still have those shade structures included there. And in its place, we've gone back to more traditional canopy, awning, over the pedestrian areas. We felt like that was more important to create the shade where people are going to be walking rather than where vehicles are going to be traveling. So we did make a change from the previous plan.
It also allowed us to create office that goes over the top of the retail.
True.
So, and there still will be some covered shade structure in the children's play areas too.
True.
My final comment is this, the fact that Estrella Falls is coming. The areas around, the corners around, the major corners around this project already are getting retail growth. And all the way around. So it's there. It's going to be very successful. And the properties that are around it are going to be very successful. The properties that are producing now income for this city. And the income that's going to come from the falls is going to be tremendous. And I appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
Councilmember Holland.
Well, I just have a couple of comments. First of all, I just want to make sure there's plenty of parking by Dillard's. And very important. And the second thing that I've talked with you guys about before is security. I feel really strong that there are probably half of us in this room were the major shoppers, and we don't go out after dark. And it would be really nice to know that in that type of environment, because it'll be very park-like, that we can feel safe actually parking out in those parking lots and shopping through that area and feel safe when we come out of the store and go back to our car. And so that means you're going to have enough security force to give us that feeling that if we have a problem, there's somebody right there, either in the parking lot or down the pedestrian walkway.
Yes, Mayor, Councilmember Holland. Plenty of parking by the department stores, definitely, absolutely.
Okay. That's important.
And as far as security goes, yes, the project will be well lit, both in the pedestrian areas inside the main street of the mall, but then out into the parking areas too. Plenty of light, and we have a significant size security force that's on the site all the time that will be available to keep track of things and keep an eye on things. And in all the other centers that we run around the valley and around the country, that is a key. If you don't feel safe, you're not going to come back and shop. So that's loud and clear. Very important to us too.
That sounds really good, and I think we're all very excited about this. And 2009 seems kind of far away right now, but I know it's coming.
It'll be here before we know it.
Hey, thank you. That was a good presentation.
Thank you.
Councilmember Cavalier.
Yes, I have 3 items that I'd like to talk to you about. One is the transportation, mass transit. Where are your bus stops? Because we plan on having a bus that probably will be coming down McDowell Road from that will be the transportation corridor from the Phoenix area out here.
Okay. Yes, Mayor, Councilmember Cavalier. The main transit stop will be located in this area right here along 150th. There will be an area, at least 2 shelters for people to sit, and there'll be an area for 2 to 3 buses to queue at one time. So that's really the quote transit stop. But there are bus stops, and Steve might even be able to know better than I around the site, but 10 or 11. There are bus stops located at key points all the way around the project.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Now, the overnight parking of recreational vehicles on number 5 here. How are we going to police that? We have problems with that in other shopping centers in the city, and we say no overnight parking. We put signs up, no recreational parking overnight. They still do it. What do we have? Is there a penalty? Is there a fine? Is there what? And I guess that's answer for the police department.
Well, Mayor, Councilman Cavalier, I give an answer first, and then if you want to get more from PD, that would be great.
First.
Well, again, we own centers all over the valley, and this really isn't a problem. And the main reason for that, unlike city property, this is private property, and we have 100% ability for someone that's parking their camper there overnight to just have them towed away. We'll be calling the police department, and they'll be taking care of it. So we really don't have an issue in other places. If that starts to happen, they're towed away.
So you can tow those. You can tow. I mean, that's not
absolutely
good. That's good to hear. Now the last one is on the lighting. We do want security lighting around in the parking area, but this will still follow our dark sky ordinance lighting. So we'll keep with the dark sky ordinance.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I need to know. Thank you very much. Very good project. How to get it fly.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Antoniak.
Thank you. I got most of my questions answered in previous work sessions and the sort, but just a couple of questions this evening. The east-west pedestrian way between the cinema and department store, what's the width from storefront to storefront?
It varies from a maximum width of 90 feet down to about 70, so it's a very generous plaza.
Okay. And then when you talked about putting the most landscaping you've ever put in a project, when we have our constituents that go over and take the 80-mile drive or whatever it takes to get to Santan and visit it, because you just gave it as an example, percentage-wise, are we talking about 25% more landscaping in this project than we see in the Santan, or have you any estimate there?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, as far as a percentage goes, I'm not really sure. We do have our landscape architect here. Could ask Jillian. Is
Is it that significant? 10% more?
Okay. Maybe 5 to 10% more than we have at Santan.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. And then I appreciate you working the art in and seeing some of the visuals in your present or in the booklet that you provided to us. It looks. I'll have I think about a 4.5-year-old at the time you open, so he'll look forward to playing on the marbles and spinning those. But
we try to bring in,
pretty cool.
We want each project to have its own unique individual character and its own individual amenities, and so we'll be bringing those kinds of things that you don't find in other centers. So that's important. So.
Frank just told me he wants a train, though. No, I'm just kidding. He was commenting on my son. No.
I saw Stan playing with a train in the department store.
Yes, you did. That's right. No, it looks very whimsical and looks like a lot of fun. Good place to hang out and enjoy a day. So I just look forward to it being built. And, as you are working throughout the rest of the project, if you can work the art component into it, and I know you all are making a pretty concerted effort, but if there's anything our Arts and Culture Commission can help out with, we've got them on board now, and I'm sure they'd love to have some input in the project.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, I'm glad you brought that up. We're definitely planning to include that as a major component of this project, to pull art interchangeable display, and we want to work with both your art staff and as well as any of the art commissions out here to make that happen. So,
Great.
Do that.
It's nice to keep it fresh.
Okay, thank you. Just, and I think you covered this at the last briefing, but I don't recall it well enough. Of the streets that are in this 106 acres, which street has parking?
I can walk you through that, Mayor. As you turn off of McDowell Road into the main spine of the project, you find parking starting here. There's angled parking all along, all the way through. As you go east-west through the project as well, each of these side streets also has angled parking. There's no vehicular traffic through this main plaza. It's all pedestrian, but you have again, you have parking along most of the north-south and east-west streets closer to the shops, and it's angled parking in most cases. There'll be a couple of locations where we have some parallel parking only, a little bit down here on the project, and then a couple of the other places along the side streets.
And how many through lanes are you going to have on that main drag if you're going to have parking there?
Ron, you want 2 lanes, but they're
Mayor, the main Cienega,
Yes.
running north-south, 2, 1 in each direction.
Okay.
So, and the way it's angled, it should be a lot easier for cars to come in and back out versus a 90-degree turn. So it's a 70-degree angle, so it should be easy to turn in and easy to back out and go.
Okay. The only problem is you're going to find someone that just saw someone get in their car, or they're expecting them to get in their car, and then they just stop traffic until that person backs out. Is there any way for us to preclude that problem?
The design, Mayor, the design of this kind of a project, the drive up the main street, it's more of an experience, I guess, and anytime you go in any sort of peak demand time, it's going to be full. Those spaces are going to be full. You might come in and drive it a couple of times, but then as a savvy shopper, you're going to know, hey, I can turn right here and come around and find a spot here most of the time. So that friction that's created by people backing out Actually, it's a good thing. It slows everything down, and retailers like it because people are, slowing down and looking and seeing the shops on the side. So that, we don't want people to be able to go too fast on that street, obviously, because we're hoping people are going to be crossing and going back and forth to shop.
Okay. Further comments or discussion? Okay, I think what I'm hearing is that there's every reason to believe that the aesthetics, the architecture, the amenities, and the quality of this are going to make every resident of this city proud. So we thank you, Westcor. We thank all the team players on the Westcor team and the staff, Brian. You guys really did a good job here. So, and we'll continue to do that. So,
And bring a Nordstrom.
With a crane. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
So all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, 7-0. Okay. We'll now move to, I think it's, okay, we'll now consider approving the 10303 Business Park preliminary plat. And Farhad, you have it.
Thank you, Mayor Kavanaugh, members of the council. As you mentioned, this is a preliminary plat for a 159-acre parcel, and I'll start off with some background information real quick. This is a vicinity map that I've included as an attachment to the COAC. And this here is the 159-acre parcel that's being subdivided. It's generally at the northwest corner of Indian School Road and Cotton Lane, as you can see here. Directly to the west is kind of an agglomeration of some privately owned land as well as some land owned by the city of Goodyear. Across the street from Cotton Lane, here's the Palm Valley 303 mixed-use project, or I should say primarily an industrial project by Suncor. Directly to the north is another industrial project that was approved as a rezoning proposal last year, known as Camelback 303. To the northwest is the Talaverde Estates, proposed Talaverde Estates residential development. A little further south is what will be coming before you as a proposed rezone, a 41-acre parcel for general commercial. And as you can see, directly to the south, it's vastly vacant, also owned by Suncor. Now I'm referring to sheet 2 of the attached preliminary plat. Now, just to give you quickly some background here, on August 27th, this parcel was a subject for a rezone proposal for the 10303 final planned area development, which primarily consists of proposed industrial developments. Having said that, the applicant has now subsequently come forward for a preliminary plat to subdivide this 159 acres into 3 lots. Lot 1, being the one adjacent to Indian School Road, is about 17.5 acres. That will likely be the first phase of this project, consisting of flex industrial development. Along with the first phase is the completion of the collector named Minnesota Avenue. Lot 2, directly to the west, is about 54, a little over 54 acres. That will consist primarily of light industrial and office. And the largest lot, Lot 3, directly to the north of Lot 1 here, that is about 73.5 acres, and that will consist primarily of industrial warehouse buildings. And there's currently a site plan in for that that's currently being reviewed by staff. With that, the staff is recommending approval subject to the 17 stipulations before you, and especially because it is consistent with the final planned area development that I was talking about earlier. And with that, I'll conclude my comments. I'm here to answer any questions as well as the applicant, Karen Keith.
Okay, thank you, Farhad. Karen, opportunity for the applicant.
Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh, members of the council. My name is Karen Keith, and happy to say a week from today we'll be located at 2940 North Litchfield here in Goodyear. Here on behalf of Mountain West Industrial Properties this evening, and gave Dustin the night off, so we do not have a formal presentation for you, but we will be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Joining me this evening is Anthony Sumner with Sandbox Development, also part of the project team. We appreciate staff's continued cooperation in the review of this. We are happy to say that we submitted the site plan for parcels 1 and 3 last week, and so we're continuing the development process very diligently. And so with that, I'll conclude my comments. Be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Who's we, 2940?
Well, that's a funny question. It will be Diagardi, Flynn and Jones, the law firm.
Okay. And that's that Suncor building, isn't it, or is it?
It's in the Palm Valley Professional Plaza.
Yeah. Northwest
Across
corner.
the street from the YMCA.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Eventually will be where you're talking about, down the street.
Yeah, okay, great. Okay, opportunity for the public. Anyone from the public like to comment? Okay, seeing none, could I have a motion, please?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the preliminary plat for 10303 Business Park with the 17 stipulations.
Second.
Motion from Vice Mayor Antoniak and a second from Councilmember Cavalier. Let's start over on the right. Councilmember Holland, any comments?
No, I don't.
Councilmember Cavalier?
None.
Vice Mayor?
No, I saw the sign got worked into stipulation 17 that we had talked about last time, and hopefully staff stays on top of the residential developer to the north and west of there to make sure that stipulations are put on their flats as to notifications of an industrial property. Other than that, I'm good.
Okay, great. Okay, Councilmember Osborne? Councilmember Ward? And Councilmember Turner?
I abide by staff's recommendation.
Good. Okay. All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 7-0. Great. We'll now move to comments or report on current events by council. Any member of council wish? Councilmember Holland.
Well, I just want to say thanks to Public Works, Community Services, and the over 100 volunteers that we had at the GAIN event. It was wonderful. I think it was the best that we've ever had, and the turnout was fabulous. And I ate my way through the food court area, so it was just great. Thank you guys very much.
I just echo Brenda's comments. The evening at Saturday was great. Also want to say thank you. I know many of you saw the email that Paula had sent out about we were hoping to show Cleveland Indians game on Wednesday night, but I appreciate it. I know staff did a lot of work and a lot of front-end work to try and see if that idea could come to fruition and teed it all up. And unfortunately, the circumstances are what they are. And Jim, our deputy city manager in the back, needs to stop gloating right now, okay? Just you need to root for the Cleveland Indians and stop rooting for the Boston Red Sox quietly. It's all your fault. So other than that, I appreciate staff really picking up and running with that idea. And you did a lot of legwork for an event that hopefully we can do next year.
Councilmember Lord?
I was somewhat sad too, but it saved my marriage since my husband.
I'm sad.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
I attended a historic Goodyear meeting. There were 10 concerns that were presented to staff. The major one is a parking complaint that concerns the park in historic Goodyear and the beauty salon across the pool across the way. I brought this to the attention of the acting city manager, and he is taking this under his consideration and is concerned as much as we are in the historic Goodyear area. As chairman of the Public Safety Retirement Board, we met on October 17th and installed new board members and the secretary. We approved 9 new police and 15 fire membership applications. The board members attended an all-day session of Public Safety Retirement Personnel Board at the Embassy Suites in downtown Phoenix. This was gained a tremendous amount of important information relative to the administration that goes along with our responsibilities as trustees of the board. I did attend the game at the community park, and I want to thank everybody that was involved, particularly Lily, who did a tremendous amount of work, and of course all of the local game groups. They presented themselves very well, and to me it was very, very successful. On October 27th, Saturday, the Historic Goodyear group is going to have an alley cleanup day between 7 and 11 o'clock in the south of Loma Linda, and they expect the alley to be cleaned up within that time. This is another community project that these folks undertake, and we're proud to support it by employees of Public Works. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's my report.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Osborne.
Okay, I'm going to say this, and I know I will probably be stoned as I walk out the door. I went to Gain. It was a fabulous turnout for a community event. Getting to see the departments and the big trucks and the wildlife, entertainment and food was terrific, and I think that that's an ongoing thing that should happen. However, I wouldn't be able to meet my neighbor anywhere there. And so I think that we need to consider that, because that's what it's about. And somehow if we can help continue communities have block parties, but continue to have our community event, which that was, something has to be said about that. So don't stone me as I go out. And I know Lily's hearing me.
I think there are things you can do at events such as that, public events, to bring the neighborhoods together. This is the first year. You could have competition between the neighborhoods. There's all sorts of things at this fest that we could do, which would identify neighborhoods and get us to meet other neighborhoods. I think the first time around, it was like our senior day. We had a senior day. I don't know if you remember. I never mentioned it, and the staff worked really hard on it. We were disappointed at the turnout, but I understand there were about 75 people, which gave us 75 comments on what they would like to have for the future. So it was for naught. It did accomplish something. But the same way about doing an open forum like this, we just have to be more astute at figuring out how it's like when you give a party. You want all your people to talk. Well, that's what we have to do. We have to do the same thing. And so we'll have to figure out games and competition and other things that will bring the community together.
That's a great idea.
Rather than
Tug of wars.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. There's lots of fun things we could do. Sure. We could put the mayor up there and let him on a dunking board and give a prize to the.
They appeared from nowhere. What do you want from me?
You got to keep in mind that that we've got to get away from individual subdivisions, and this does it. This does bring the total community together, and I think it's important for us to remember that we're not Palm Valley, we're not Tuttle Creek, we are Goodyear, and this type of event that does that consolidates the total community. And I from the time I was there, I could see the people were happy. They were going around, I think the food was great. I mean, that yeah, and as you point out, this is the first time affair, and it will grow. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Great comments. And, we will continue to improve in Goodyear in this and every other thing we do. But definitely, you want to make sure your folks know, Brian, that unanimously on this council, we commend the effort of your folks.
Thank you. Staff worked extremely hard, so appreciate those comments.
Okay, I think it's now time for the city manager's summary.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, just a couple of items. One is there is no work session next Monday, the 29th of October. We will be resuming again first Monday in November for our next work session. The other thing is October 24th, which is this Wednesday, we'll have a request for qualifications due in for both the City Center and for the Performing Arts Center. We're moving forward, and we'll keep you informed as we go through the selection, ultimately, of who's going to be our development team members for that entire project. So it's going forward, and we're getting a lot of interest, so stay tuned. As it relates to follow-up items, there were just a couple of them that I had. One is we will get a breakdown, Councilmember Osborne, and we'll get it out to the entire council as it relates to design services, 330,000 plus. So we'll get that breakdown on who it is and what they were working on, what projects. We will also be following up Councilmember Sousa. We've already started working on some of those issues, and we'll get that back to council as well as it relates to historic Goodyear. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Opportunity now for council to ask questions or inquire of staff. Vice Mayor?
I had a thought as I was walking in, somebody was sharing with me that they've got a relative that's expeditiously getting in their car and coming here from the West Coast. And I thought maybe, you ought to check in. Obviously, I'm sure we do things when the Rodeo Chetaskai fire happens, but I don't know what is going on in terms of, I counted 9 or 10 different fires on the West Coast, and so they're having hundreds of thousands of people evacuate, and we've got I-10 going right through, smack through Phoenix. So hopefully our fire and public safety personnel are talking about the impacts of that and the potential, and people are retreating east and, getting out of Dodge. So a lot of people sitting on the freeway right now.
They are 25 miles
nowhere to
an
go.
hour. My daughter's there.
I know.
Happening here.
I wasn't going to point
happening here.
I was going to point it out, but George's daughter's on her way home, or way to her mom's house. So,
Where does she live?
in San Diego.
In San Diego.
So, a lot of folks coming from California.
Okay, well, good thought, Rob. Appreciate that. Okay,